Alrighty, we're back to working on the farm here. It's actually Monday afternoon, just after lunch. I started a video on Sunday, but I got called into work at the coin shop, and then I worked this morning at the coin shop. But on my way home, I stopped at the hardware store and picked up quite a few little seedlings. Now, sweet little Ingrid's got her seedlings that she germinated and got going up at the house. I just got her something to help her out. Teased her and sent her a picture and said her plants were doing great today. Okay, so I got the feeding area moved around here yesterday and got that set up. Got the old area cleaned up and stacked up, and of course I've got the goats. I'm still doing one for Moon Pie and one for Sophie right here because they fight over the food. They each have their own hut over there so that they can have a place when it rains. Now, we were talking about the colony and the problem with the rabbits getting in because the access was so low. Now, this is my second colony area that I'm going to show you. I actually was down here working on the cans and trying to jump start the tractor, waiting for the battery to charge up yesterday, and I came over here and fixed up this tunnel right here. Let me now this is the second colony area that we're doing, and you can see through the tunnel right there, and of course there's the chicken access right there into the coop. But when they came out this morning, they went down this new ramp over here and got into their food, of course, right here. But they're confused. That wall, that wire wall that's there now is not letting them. They're confused. They haven't found that tunnel. Now, last night I sat out here and watched them. I like to sit and watch the animals and their characteristics and their personalities at different times. I was sitting out here watching them as they went to go back in, and before they had this ramp right here. This ramp came up and they would go into the coop. So I put the ramp up, but the tunnel was there instead of the entrance to the coop. So they had to actually travel through this tunnel to get over to the entrance to the coop. And it took them a little while, but they finally figured it out. So that worked out pretty good. But the idea is, what I want to do is, I want to take this ramp down and eliminate it. That way the rabbits can't get in. See how I've got this up higher? It's sort of like a diving board design where this sticks out. That way the chickens can fly, hop, whatever you want to call it, up there. Now that's 24 inches. That was the maximum I could do because of this roof and this wire that's already here. I'm thinking 32 on the next one. Like I said, I was sitting there watching them, and they can easily hop up to the 24. So I think 32 would be certain that the rabbits can't get up there. And the rabbits would really have to be stretching, I think, to get up there now. But like I said, this ramp is just temporary until they figure everything out and get familiar with it. They're confused right now, but they need to get acclimated. It takes them a while to get used to new things. And so even though they're confused, I'm going to let them just work it out in their own little pea brains right there. So I did catch one of the rabbits. I was showing you in the earlier video how I had to set the have-a-heart trap up. I did catch the male. So I dropped the male into this garden area here, and I'm gonna put a few females in there with him and let the colony go, let those rabbits go along in here. And I'll probably, you can see these gates over here and this plywood. That is, I call those the FEMA camps. Let me walk around here real quick and show you what I'm going to do with the rabbits inside this colony area. Now remember, this is the second colony area. I've got to get them some hay. They have completely eaten that all up. But over here, what I've got is I'm redoing this fence right here. I'm tearing this fence out right here. This whole fence is going to be completely torn out all the way along here because the goats have smashed it down and torn it up. And so I never really built it for goats. I built it for chickens to keep the two different. I could have two different gardens. I could have a summer garden and I could have a spring garden and a summer garden, and then a fall garden over here. I had a fence down through here, and then I had another fence right here separating the chickens, so I could keep the chickens, you know, and let them into different areas. So I need to redo this fence down through here, redo that fence there. But what I wanted to show you is these 5 little gated areas right here. There's 1, and there's 4 or 5 going down through here. This is the chicken area. I call these the FEMA camps. This is another little area right here, and it's got the waterers and the blocks. I use these blocks to make little building little areas. This is what I wanted to show you. This is where I built this little box. It's got this lid, and here's the wire. It's a wire box here, and that is where, when I sickle mow the hay, I bring it in here and I drop it right in this little area, and then to keep it dry, it's got this lid. And our weather comes from this direction, so I put another piece of plywood right here to keep the weather off of it right there, and that's enough to keep it going. These are the blocks that I used. I had them spread out in there, and then a piece of plywood laying on it. That way the rabbits could get underneath there. It was actually 2 layers. It was actually 4 blocks for each layer, and then that underneath there is the water. Another box for the FEMA camp here. This is the 4th gate right here. And the blocks and all that, just going to get the plywood. You see these cords hanging down for the lights. I'm going to show you to keep the water from freezing. I'm going to show you how that works in just a second. And then another FEMA camp back here. Now these blocks are leaning over because this tree has got roots going underneath. But I wanted to show you, there's the male. I just threw him in here. Now, I noticed I went around and put the chicken wire, the 12-inch or 16-inch chicken wire, on the outside to keep the predators from coming in. But I see that the inside, this little inside piece has rusted away. So I need to go around real quick, put another piece down just to keep the rabbits from digging out. Double check that, put that on my list. But I wanted to show you, you can buy those electric waterers and plug them in and water like that, but boy, they break easily. They don't last. If they make it one winter, it's a miracle. So I quit buying those things. They're $100, and you're in trouble real quick with those. But this is what I built right here. Now I've got this block on top to keep the goats from knocking it over, and then I've got this metal piece because it can take the heat better. But inside here I've got a timer, of course. This is the first, the extension cord comes here first. So this controls the timing for all the other FEMA camps. But what I've got is a porcelain light fixture here and a 200 watt, which is plenty. 100 watt is probably all you need. But that, I just wired in an old extension cord, piece of an extension cord into it. And there's another one here for redundancy. So if the bulb goes out or something, they'll have something to keep them warm. And I keep extra bulbs out here so I can change it really quick if I need to. So then I can just set the water right up here, and it'll stay thawed out with that timer, or I can have it come on at like 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning, and by the time they come out, their water is thawed out. That has worked the best for me. Porcelain little light fixture, and then wire in the outlets. You saw the outlets hanging over there. So let me show you here. You can see how I stuck this piece of plywood up to keep the goats from knocking it over. But you see how this platform is sticking out from the tunnel. Here's the tunnel going through. Here's the platform. This is just temporarily sitting here so to help the chickens figure this out. Once they figure it out, I'll take this down. Once the rabbits are in here, I'll take this down, but they haven't figured it out completely yet. But as soon as they figure that out, I'll take that ramp down, and it'll be fun to watch them figuring out how to jump up there. This is my black soldier fly box. Let me just show you. There's nothing in here right now. This was a box I built a few years ago. This is plastic cardboard for the eggs, And the trick to these boxes is making this piece of plywood on a 35-degree angle. And then these two pieces of plywood bring the larvae so that they'll drop right down into your container right here. And then the liquid goes out right through there. And then the other trick is the coquino shells. You need the coquino shells to keep the larvae from exiting out those holes. They don't like to travel through coquino shells. So a layer of those down there keeps them from traveling out. And then of course that's where it drains out, and it's built down here with a couple pieces of plywood that allow the drain. See, it drains right there. Now, there's usually a bucket here just to catch it, because we water it down to keep it moist. Okay, well, I know this is a long video, but let's go over and see what the broody is doing today. Oh yeah, there's a mess of little chicks in there. They've knocked over that little feeder. They don't seem to mind me peeking in on them anymore. They're getting bigger. Another day before we open up that door and let them down. But they're running around pretty good. They're getting to a good size. I'm just going to catch you up on a few things that are going on around here. Now, on the other colony, I was able to I was going to say about the FEMA camps back there. I'm going to put in a pipe going into one of those FEMA camps and build the rabbits their own little space back there. Plus, I can keep them out of the garden if I decide to plant something. So I was able to catch the black marans inside the colony here, the old dog cage that I moved over here. So I've got them in there, and I'm forcing them to stay in there. I've got their little tunnel with the plastic, and I've got the blocks to keep the rabbits out. Now, same problem here. Like I said earlier, that's too low. The rabbits are coming in. I'm going to move it up, and it's going to be 32 inches. The bottom of it will be 32 inches off the ground, and they'll have this ramp to come up, go into the tunnel, and then there'll be like a diving board platform that they can jump down off of and fly back up to, that the rabbits shouldn't be able to get into. We'll see how that goes. And I did get the plow on. I did get a tiny bit of plowing done, but the weeds are the two problems. One is the weeds are too tall, so I'm going to weed eat that next. That's the first thing on my list, is to go in there and cut that down with the weed eater. But I want to show you the plow, the Cub Cadet plow, that I did get it on, but I had to make a sleeve. I showed you the bolt. Well, there was too much play in the lift part of the Cub Cadet 3-point hitch, and so I took a 3/4 inch galvanized pipe. Here it is right here. I took a 3/4 inch galvanized piece of pipe, and I put it inside here, because this side was inside of here was much larger. So 3/4 inch pipe. I had to kind of grind it down a little bit to get it to fit, and drill it out just a little tiny bit. It wasn't much, just a little tiny bit of work to get it to fit in there. And then I greased it up, and then I was able to put the bolt in, and I've got a good, nice, tight fit without a bunch of play in the plow up and down. But somehow or another, all my settings, I've plowed with this before, but everything is out of whack. I don't know if it was this one or what got out of whack completely, but something's completely out of whack on my setting. It just won't go deep enough. So I brought it in and I put the tractor up on some blocks, 2 blocks on either side. I measured how far the plow was off the ground before I did that. So I'm 4 inches off the ground at all the way up. What I need to do is get this plow to go down 6 to 8 inches into the ground. So you're talking, 10 to 12 inches of travel, which I don't have that at all. I have about, 8. So I want to get it to 12 inches of travel, and I want it to be closer to the ground. So I got to get all the adjusting done. Right now, it's 4 inches off the ground without the blocks underneath the tires. So I can actually close that down to, maybe 2 inches, and then when the plow goes down, I want to be 6 to 8 inches in the ground, and then I'd be able to control it with the hydraulic up and down, whether I want 4 or 6 or whatever my height is. I don't have any adjustable room in the lift right now, so we're going to adjust that. Okay, that should bring you up to speed on what I'm doing. I think the colony thing is the most interesting. Putting in those tunnels up at the one is at 24 inches at the copper marans, and it's going to be 32 inches at the black marans. Now the black marans need to stay in that little dog kennel area until they get familiar with that. They've been sleeping out in the garden, and that's the predators, I think, are more likely to find them out in that area than they would find them inside that dog kennel. It's just a lot more secure. So I want them to call that home. So they may be in there for a week or two. And now that we're going to be planting and putting a garden up there, they may be in there for a month or so. They're going to be acclimated to that little area, and they haven't started laying eggs yet. So they should start laying eggs pretty soon, and I want her to start laying them inside that little box area, the old rabbit coop thing that's in there. So they're going to be confined to that for a while. Well, thank you for watching. This it's been a long video, but keep in mind that it's about the harvest, and we appreciate it.